Now, again, I wanted to understand the Hebrew behind that phrase. Another quick pause here to do some skill training rather than just content mastery. You don't have to be a Hebrew scholar in the Old Testament or a Greek scholar in the New Testament to do what I want to explain here. As I've openly admitted in prior episodes, I'm no Hebrew scholar. I took just enough Hebrew in college to realize I didn't want to spend a lifetime studying the ancient languages. Bless those who do, okay? It's an incredible sacrifice on their part, and they're amazing what they can pull out of Scripture because of it. But I did realize at the time and since, I was more interested in the worlds that the Scriptures create rather than the world that created the Scripture. And so I spend my time in the King James Version and try to make sense of how it's been used and abused and misused and argued over and fought about ever since it was given us. But that doesn't stop me from at times wanting to know what was the original there. And thankfully, in our day, there are incredible online resources to make that possible, even for novices like me. Bible Hub is my favorite one. It's an online website. You just go to Bible Hub and it has every verse in the Old and New Testament, and you can see multiple translations of it if the King James is ever unclear. There are multiple commentaries on it from throughout history. There are the Hebrew original in the Old Testament, the Greek original in the New, and you can see it verse by verse and line by line, word by word. And you can take those Hebrew words and drill down into them to see nuance and where else is it translated, or where else does it appear in Scripture, and how is it translated elsewhere. Amazing resource. And please don't do that with every single word, you thought my lessons were long. You'll never finish, okay? But if you ever see a word that seems to jump off the page at you and almost call out for consideration, those are the times it's worth going to Bible Hub and drilling deep. We'll see this in a little while when we get to Exodus. When Moses sees the burning bush, it's God's attention getter. And when Moses turns aside to see it, that's when the message comes. So if you ever see a word in the Old Testament that seems to be giving off some light and heat, then that's your burning bush. Turn aside to see it. Look it up. Think about it. Wrestle with it to see if there's anything more. So we saw that with the word pleasure. Well, how about the phrase too hard? Because that was another burning bush for me. I looked up too hard, and it comes from a Hebrew word that also means surpassing or extraordinary. Just something so far beyond the norm. It's like, whoa, that's too much. That's shock and awe. Well, is anything surpassing God? No, he surpasses all. Is anything extraordinary to him? Well, no, because even miracles are ordinary, everyday experiences for him. Nothing's too hard. Well, that same word, translated here as too hard, is the same word we'll see later in the story of Exodus about the wonders and marvels that God will perform to free his people Israel. It's the same word that is used to describe Solomon's temple when it's said that it is wonderful great. I love that. That doesn't even make sense in English grammar, but it's awesome in Hebrew, okay? It's the same word that Job uses when he finally waves the white flag and realizes, God, you know more than I do. And he says, you have done things too wonderful for me. Same word. Even Isaiah's famous marvelous work and a wonder, that marvelous work is the too much, the beyond, above and beyond, the surpassing, the extraordinary. It's the divine, it's the transcendent, and it's not too hard for him. He will never cease to be after that manner. There's just something beautiful about that question.